Good evening. Today I've got the Sony, I don't remember the model number of this, TFM7150 radio that I did a look inside video on maybe a couple of months ago. I'll post a link to that video in the description. This radio performs very well on AM. I have a DXing video, I'll link that one as well in the description below. This is really quite an excellent AM performer. It's a fairly simple radio, dating from first half of the 1970s, I think. If you look in the commentary on one of those videos, there's some discussion about when this was made, and I think I was wrong. I would have said the second half of the 70s, but I think it's the first half of the 70s. So what's wrong with this is that the antenna's broken. So I purchased this one from AliExpress. It's a little long, but I can probably live with that. It probably won't fold down all the way. It might. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Actually, maybe it's not too long. Anyhow, I did actually order two. I ordered one with the wrong base here, but this is the correct one, I think. So let's go ahead and replace this antenna. 5 screws to remove, I think. It's been a while since I opened this up, so I don't entirely remember, but this should be fairly straightforward. My memory is that there is a contact which takes the antenna connection over to the radio board, which is nice because it means that I probably won't have to do any soldering on this. And one more there. Alright, let's see, have I got all the screws out? Yeah, I got these long ones. Okay, and as I remembered, we can undo that. That's the battery pack, and there's a connector there. These like to interfere with each other. And here's the antenna, so there's a screw that goes over the end. Well, maybe this is or is not the right. Well, we'll figure out some way of maybe bodging this one in. So let me figure out how to get that screw out. I'll just try a pair of pliers first. This radio has a very strong old electronic smell. Okay, there's some Loctite on that. Well, let me come back and see what I can do. Okay, so I got the nut off, and then there's this. That forms the contact with the bottom of, and here's the format of the antenna. So the one I've got let's see. I don't think the one I've got will fit at all. Nope. I don't think so. It's a pretty decent antenna for the $3 I paid for it, though. And the problem with this is because it's got this weird arm. You can't just unscrew this and put it in there. So let's try a couple of things. So if we were to, yeah, it would sort of work. So what do we have to do? It just goes to show you how replacing the antennas on older radios gets difficult sometimes. So that goes in there. I wonder, see, so you can see that the antenna kind of broke off right at the top of this little machine slug, right? You can see the little pill here from the machining. So I wonder if I could get that off, maybe with the Dremel, and then jam the antenna on or something. I don't know. Let me ponder. Okay, well, I also have this one. I obviously didn't look closely enough at this antenna. I just figured, oh, it's going to be this style. But yeah, neither of these are going to work, I don't think. This one's actually, I think, the correct size. But because this uses that, there's not really any way. I mean, I could. This is a really cheap antenna, and you can see the attachment to here is not very good. I could probably get that off. This other one's a bit better. And maybe get it on there. I'm tempted to try. First thing to do would be to see if I could get the right size screwdriver there. So the first thing would be to get this off here. I should say these antennas are like $2 on AliExpress, so if you destroy it, it's not really a big deal. Right, so I guess the goal here would be to actually, well, it's pretty solid. Well, not material isn't though. Okay, so what we do is we would Dremel this end off and then maybe see if we can clear it off here. Let me see, just out of curiosity. I don't see any harm in trying. All right, step one, let's take this off. I'm going to need something that holds, well, you know what, it's not getting that hot. Let's start like this. Okay, so that's cleared off there. Now, will it fit over here? No. Well, sorry, I had the mic off before. So again, this is not really going to work. It's just to see if it does. So that's if it's a possibility. So I've cleaned that off. This is off there. I cut it, I think, at the right spot. So you can see how it goes over this little pot metal piece here, which broke off on me. You can see how poor the casting was on that. And so I've just cut that off. Now I'm going to see if I can, I think there's still a layer of antenna on here. So I'm going to see if I can cut it off without doing too much damage to anything. So one thing you find out is that this is brass, not pot metal. Well, and yes, there's definitely something on there. But can I get at it? Well, I feel like I'm using the Dremel the way mechanics use a full-size oh, look at that. So now the question is how to crimp that down. Yeah, it doesn't go down all the way, but good enough for me. So I wonder what to crimp that with. I'm just looking through my collection of stuff here. I'm wondering if I could crimp it with the coax crimpers there, which I've never used. Oh, too big. Okay, let's try here. I'm doing that as hard as I can. Oh, no. Do you think you could solder it? It's all brass. My last attempt to solder something like this ended in tears. But, let me get some stuff set up and we'll try. I've got this soldering iron here functions as a heat gun if you take the tip off. If you ran that on high, it might get that hot enough to get just some electrical solder. Here's some, what is this, 1 millimeter or something? 1.6 millimeter. Might work. So we need to hold this up like this so that the solder would go down in there. Okay, I'm going to try. Well, the camera is pulled up and zoomed in the hopes of not destroying it. The phone anyway that I'm using as a camera. We will turn this to fairly high heat. We'll see if we can get it started. Alright, if you look over there in the shadow, you can see it's starting to glow red. This produces heat, not a visible flame. So I'm going to apply it to here. Now, I don't know if we have enough room to wick this down, but apply the heat around as much as possible. Yeah, we don't have enough heat here. Okay, so we have the outside, the antenna is heated up to the solder's melting point, but not the yeah, this is not going to work. Okay, well, let's put this back in. And we're also destroying whatever packing is used to hold that in place. So yeah, so what we're going to do then is just use the pliers and see if we can get somewhere with those. No, we'll let this cool down and get back. Okay, so finally we're going to try the dumbest way that I can think of, which is with super glue. We'll have to open a new one. These little things almost always reclose. And so I remember the super glue is not going to be conductive, but the rest of the thing will be. So still a bit warm, not hot enough to burn though. So we'll give that a little time and see what happens with it. Now take out So it looks like the heat may have destroyed a little plastic springy thing that was in there, but I still think it's going to work. So this is cool enough to touch now, which means that it's cool enough for this. Yeah, that'll be all right. Here, let me zoom out. There. That'll be all right. It's not too bad. Not perfect, not quite the right length, but that'll work. So now we need to put this back on here. It sort of functions like a washer on this side. And it also provides the contact. So we'll put this back on the right way. It's a little tough to get started. They probably had a jig for all of this stuff when it was manufactured. Maybe that's one size. There we go. Okay, so I'm sorry, and I have a microphone cable in here. Okay, so swings around, goes up. Doesn't stay very well because my heating damaged this, but that's okay. I can live with that. Alright, so let's get the radio back together and then we'll get some batteries in it and see what happens. So when you attach this radio, one of the things that I discovered is you've got to be careful that this little wire here doesn't block. You want it going so that it doesn't block the negative terminal. Well, let's just make sure that's good. Yeah. Okay, I think that's good. So we can put these screws in. One there. One there. There's the other one. One there. And one there. And the little one down here. And we'll get these in quickly enough. I'm sorry if I've gotten off camera. I should say this kind of fix is kind of in keeping with what's been done to this radio before, because the lens, the plastic lens on the front is held on with silicone by a previous owner, and the battery pack is bodged with epoxy, and that little piece of metal, that actually works really well. This one's starting to get stripped out a bit. I have been in here a few times now. Well, twice, I guess. 3 times. Okay, that one's good. Okay, let's get some batteries and give it a go. Okay, so let's just start. We'll have a quick look at AM, and then we'll play with FM a little bit. I'm just checking. You can make the FM antenna stay up, sort of, so that's fine. What I'm going to do is we'll just try AM and just demonstrate how good an AM receiver this is. And so come up above 800. And find French CBC. Now just of that, there's WCBS. That's.
When Gore goes out, Terrence Gore comes racing in. Gore, the center fielder, makes a running catch.
So there we have WCBS from New York at, just looking at my watch here, 25 after 7. So just starting to open up. Okay, so let's pop up our little antenna here. Let's flip over to FM.
So you can save up to 40 minutes here. Horse. I was son of.
So that should be CBC Music, I believe.
Toronto's new 93.5
Oh,
Today
no.
Radio. Lowe's. This week, get 20% off custom kitchen cabinets and save $100.
Probably Jazz FM there. That's probably French CBC Music.
इनको वो एक पिकअप
$5 million jackpot. And the growing gold ball jackpot.
Okay, so it's looking pretty good. Might be off a little bit. Let's look around 100.
Against me, help organize my life before. Cause I met you in the past, like Achilles and his gifts.
That should be, I'm not sure. I'm not sure actually. We could try 102.
Just a lot of fun. This is a single called Jenny, and the video stars nothing but puppets. It's sweet. This is Thirsty Curses, Undiscovered Gem of the Week from The Edge.
Yes, that's The Edge. So it's off a little bit. That should be 102.1 or something like that, and it's showing more like 103. But sounds good. It's and it seems to be fairly selective. So I'm going to leave that there. I think this is not a perfect replacement, and I will probably be on and keep my eye out for a proper Sony replacement antenna, but you know, it's not crazy to put a cheapie on like that. I wonder how long the glue will hold. Not very, I wouldn't think. But there we go. So at least it's got an antenna on it, which makes it look better. This radio is almost never going to get used for FM anyway, because this is such a good AM performer. I can't imagine that I'd pick it for FM over some of the others. Anyhow, hope you enjoyed this kind of, repair is a strong word for this, a hacky fix of this Sony radio. Thanks.